Bear to You by Sylvia Day. Chapter 6 Part 3. Before watching, don't forget to like, subscribe and share for more interesting free audiobooks. Thank you. With a critical and curious eye, I studied the women who'd been photographed with Gideon, and thought about his approach to dating, socializing, and sex. I saw that my mom had been right. They were all brunettes. The woman who appeared with him most often bore the hallmarks of a Hispanic heritage. She was taller than me, willowy rather than curvy. Magdalene Perez, I murmured, grudgingly, admitting that she was a stunner. Her posture had the kind of flamboyant confidence that I admired. Okay, it's been long enough, Carrie interrupted, with a soft note of amusement. He filled the doorway to my sitting room, leaning insolently into the doorjamb. Really, I'd been so absorbed, I hadn't realized how much time had passed. I would guess you're about a minute away from him coming to find you. He's barely restraining himself. I shut the folder and stood. Interesting reading, isn't it? Very. How had Gideon's father, or more specifically, his father's suicide, influenced his life? I knew all the answers I wanted were waiting for me in the next room. Leaving my bedroom, I took the hallway to the living room. I paused on the threshold, my gaze riveted to Gideon's back as he stood in front of the windows and looked out at the city. My heart rate kicked up. His reflection revealed a contemplative mood. His gaze was unfocused, and his mouth grim. His crossed arms betrayed an inherent unease, as if he was out of his element. He looked remote and removed, a man who was inherently alone. He sensed my presence, or maybe he felt my yearning. He pivoted, then went very still. I took the opportunity to drink him in, my gaze sliding all over him. He looked every inch the powerful magnate. So sensually handsome, my eyes burned just from looking at him. The rakish fall of black hair around his face made my fingers flex with the urge to touch it. And the way he looked at me, my pulse leapt. Eva. He came toward me, his stride graceful and strong. He caught up my hand and lifted it to his mouth. His gaze was intense, intensely hot, intensely focused. The feel of his lips against my skin sent goose bumps racing up my arm and stirred memories of that sinful mouth on other parts of my body. I was instantly aroused. Hi. Amusement warmed his eyes. Hi, yourself. You look amazing. I can't wait to show you off. I breathed through the delight I felt at the compliment. Let's hope I can do you justice. A slight frown knit the space between his brows. Do you have everything you need? Carrie appeared beside me, carrying my black velvet shawl and opera-length gloves. Here you go. I tucked your gloss into your clutch. You're the best, Carrie. He winked at me, which told me he'd seen the condoms I had tucked into the small interior pocket. I'll head down with you too. Gideon took the shawl from Carrie and draped it over my shoulders. He pulled my hair out from underneath it, and the feel of his hands at my neck so distracted me, I barely paid attention when Carrie pushed my gloves into my hands. The elevator ride to the lobby was an exercise in surviving acute sexual tension. Not that Carrie seemed to notice. He was on my left with both hands in his pockets, whistling. Gideon, on the other hand, was a tremendous force on the other side of me. Although he didn't move or make a sound, I could feel the edgy energy radiating from him. My skin tingled from the magnetic pull between us, and my breath came short and fast. I was relieved when the doors opened and freed us from the enclosed space. Two women stood waiting to get on. Their jaws dropped when they saw Gideon and Carrie, and that lightened my mood and made me smile. Ladies, Carrie greeted them, with a smile that really wasn't fair. I could almost see their brain cells misfiring. In contrast, Gideon gave a curt nod and led me out with a hand at the small of my back, skin to skin. The contact was electric, sending heat pouring through me. I squeezed Carrie's hand. Save a dance for me. Always. See you in a bit. A limousine was waiting at the curb, and the driver opened the door when Gideon and I stepped outside. I slid across the bench seat to the opposite side and adjusted my gown. When Gideon settled beside me and the door shut, I became highly conscious of how good he smelled. I breathed him in, telling myself to relax and enjoy his company. He took my hand and ran his fingertips over the palm, the simple touch sparking a fierce lust. I shrugged off my shawl, feeling too hot to wear it.